Excuse me, sir. Telephone.
Look,
Dulles
dude,
brothers.
JFK.
Dude.
How about? So Lee Harvey Oswald gets out of the Marines, gets sent, or he's still in the Marines. He gets shipped to, what is it, Osaka in Japan? You know this, dude. Come on.
Yes.
He gets to Japan where they're doing the U-2 spy planes. Fully CIA. And then he just leaves there? What the hell? And he goes to Moscow or something?
Yeah.
What the fuck are we talking about?
They're obsessed with the Ruskies, dude.
True.
It's been like this forever.
Yeah. But I was actually I was fascinated by the Dulles brothers. They don't teach you too much about the Dulles brothers in school.
So I watched this YouTube from this guy, Steven Kinzer.
Yeah, I watched.
Did you watch that guy's
a
speech?
C-SPAN interview with him.
Dude, those interviews they do with the fucking all the ladies with white bowl cuts in the front row. I didn't know and those ladies get lit in the Q&A. They have fucking questions.
They start asking questions.
Yeah, dude. They're
just asking questions.
They have serious fucking questions,
saying,
man.
do you truly in your own?
Well, dude, so you watched the thing where
I watched Kinzer talk about
where the Dulles brothers came from.
Yeah.
Calvinist grandfather.
Yeah.
How their grandfather blasted across like the frontier and just like he was on his manifest destiny kick.
Yeah, he
got into politics.
Freak Christians in New York here.
Yeah.
And what's that place? Water something. Waterloo.
I don't know. But he was explaining the reason the Dulles brothers were the Dulles brothers. And the coolest story in the beginning, he looks for the bust. He goes, guys, the airport's named after the Dulles brothers. Where the fuck's the bust of the one Dulles brother? And everyone goes, what the fuck are you talking about? And it was hidden in a conference room near the baggage claim. And he goes, what an apt symbol for their place in American history. Covered over, pushed to the side.
I petitioned to change the Dulles Airport to the Fred Hampton Airport.
Did you?
Very sick. I'm going to start that petition.
You should.
Yes.
Fred Hampton Airport would be sick. This guy, what Kinzer was trying to do, he was trying to remember the painting, The Glorious Victory, Diego Rivera? Where they did that big mural of the United Fruit Company and the two Dulles brothers there and like the dead babies everywhere and like money falling out.
Yeah, he was trying to get that mural in the airport.
He was trying to get in the airport, but he was trying to find that mural. It was no longer in Mexico. Diego Rivera, communist, donated it to Russia. And then Russia were kind of like, yeah, he's like, they didn't really fuck with Latin America. They didn't fuck with Latinx communists, apparently.
Yeah.
Russia were like, those guys aren't real communists.
They don't understand.
So they just rolled his scroll up and they were like, the big mural, they rolled it up and they just keep it in the basement. And he wants to get that in the Dulles Airport.
That'd be sick.
He wants to have that big mural of all the dead Guatemalan babies in the Dulles Airport.
I would like that.
And he shamelessly was like, maybe put a couple of my books right there if you want to buy them. Like, you motherfucker, dude.
Yeah, he started. The first thing I watched with that guy, with Kinzer, was a C-SPAN interview, and he started like smiling and be like, "Well, let me tell you about the Dulles brothers." And I was like, "This fucking pussy.
Yeah,
he's gonna be pro Dulles scum."
It's
then
brutal.
he keeps going. No, he was very anti.
He crushes them.
Oh yeah,
yeah, he crushes them. I mean, he gets into their like absolute psychology.
I think it's hard to look into them and be pro Dulles.
They're assholes.
His
dudes literally suck and do nothing but destroy America.
Yeah, but exactly his thing is these guys had no idea. None of them knew like the internet was coming out, so they had no clue that like they thought they could like go destabilize Guatemala and be like, that'll all get lost in a shuffle of paper. It must have been so easy to pull the wool over people's eyes back then.
Yeah, I was talking to Spade about this. Like now you got the internet, it's kind of fucking people's heads up. Back then you just had to have a Walter Cronkite or someone just be like, this is the truth, and everyone believed it.
Yeah.
What's the thing about Guatemala we should touch on, Matt?
Yeah,
let me tell you something. When you think about it, Bill, it makes my fucking mind spin. The fruit, what's it called? What's
United
the fruit
Fruit Co.
United Fruit Company was in Guatemala. Guatemala, I think it was their first Democratic elected guy. He comes in, he wants to give the land that the fruit company is not using to the people, for the people.
Yeah.
It's revolutionary. And the Dulles brothers were working for Cromwell and whatever.
Sullivan
and Cromwell at the time, who represented the fruit company. And the fruit company was like, we don't want them to give this fucking land away. So then these freaks go in there and coup, dude. They cooed out.
Yeah, they just sent it to Iran. The same thing. They were working for Sullivan and Cromwell. Iran is like, we're nationalizing our oil. And they had to go back to the Schroeder Bank and go.
Tales old as time.
They had to go, guys, we told you, we promised you. It's kind of our job to make sure countries don't step out of line. We lost this one. Guatemala did it. They went, well, fuck this. And then they both took office the next year. Yeah. Director of the CIA.
First thing they did was destroy Iran, and then the second thing they did was come back and destroy Guatemala.
A 35-year civil war, Bill.
A lot of people got fucked up, too.
What?
in Guatemala. Like,
Yeah,
that was
dude.
fucked up.
Yeah, 35-year civil war.
I'm very pro Guatemala too. They're strong
Me too.
individuals.
You what?
You ever work with them?
Yeah.
The
Guatemalans are good bros.
I like them.
Yeah,
Guatemalans are good bros.
it's unfortunate what the goddamn Dulleses did to them.
They're pretty bad boys.
Yeah,
But that was their whole thing, apparently. Their grandfather was like, you got to teach these motherfuckers, dude. Civilization's away. You got to take it to them at every fucking cost, dude. Or at any cost.
that
You gotta
does
take it
fire
to the
me up. I
boys.
like that.
That's the shit they were on. So they were
Yeah.
like, yo, we'll get in there. Dude, two brothers who apparently were ideologically twins. They believed the exact same shit, were the head of the visible government and the head of the invisible government at the same time.
How about Alan Dulles and all his sexcapades?
He was a fucking people person,
that
dude.
goddamn sex.
That was the thing. Alan Dulles was life of the party.
Yeah,
So everyone would be like, people didn't even know what the CIA was doing. They were like, oh, that guy's kind of fun. Tons of affairs. He had sex with the Queen of Greece.
I didn't know
Apparently,
that.
he was
That's pretty sick.
sex with the Queen of Greece, and apparently he was
This guy does have some positives.
he was way into James
Some
Bond.
cool news.
He
He
was
likes James
going around
Bond?
like destabilizing Guatemala, like dun,
Yeah,
dun, dun. He had a little tiny gun. He was like,
It's like, nice. I started another genocide in Indonesia. We've done it again, brother.
well, he used to write the author of James Bond all the time, Ian Fleming or whatever his name was. He would write him constantly, and he'd be like, apparently Fleming eventually put in a CIA guy that was supposedly based off Alan Dulles into the thing. So
What a bunch of fucking jerks.
yeah, but apparently the dude was getting pumped, and he was petitioning the CIA to make James Bond weaponry, and they had to be like, dudes, this doesn't exist. It's a fantasy. Please stop. Please stop giving us James. We can't make you James Bond weapons. He'd be like, shame.
A lot of those guys were like drunk as balls too.
Yeah,
They're always drunk and
madmen.
always lying to each other.
yeah.
That's pretty sick.
It's really
They're
fucked
fucking
up.
open mic comics. Just hammered lying to each other at
Like
all
those
times.
dudes were always talking shit on each other, destabilizing countries, and also were balls ass drunk.
Yeah. These guys were fucked up.
Now we're here.
Well, that's what they say. They say, whatchamacallit, that was the reason for Vietnam as well. Like Churchill and the French, whoever the French guy was.
Helicopters and heroin.
Well, apparently the Churchill and whoever was representing France were like, yeah, Ho Chi Minh is definitely, you can't fuck him up. And the fucking Dulles went, you guys are lame.
Dude, they're drunk.
Walked out on the
Yeah.
convention. He was first time.
Said, you guys did it the European way.
Yep.
Wait till you see the American way. We're
Yep.
going to go fuck them up.
And apparently they say, you know, he was careful to be like,
Light
dude, I
them
want
on
to blame
fire.
everything bad in the world that happened. But he goes, it was the start of us being like, we got this. We're going to go in there. He's like, we could have potentially avoided the Vietnam War. Or
Yeah.
At all
well,
costs.
that leads us straight to John F. Kennedy.
Yep.
Because he was trying to pull out, dude. You know this.
And he was being cool with the Russians. They
He was
were calling
being
him a
cool with the
fucking
Russians.
communist.
He was starting to be cool with fucking Fidel.
Yeah.
He was being cool with Algeria. He was being cool.
He's real cool in Africa too.
Yeah. That's where Algeria is.
Nice.
Swag. Oh!
Oh, I've been reading that Napoleon book. I finally got to the part where that he gets a little nasty, dude.
Does he?
He got a little nasty down in Egypt.
Did he really?
He got a little nasty down the
What
Holy
did he
Land.
do down there?
Started fucking executing people.
Why?
So he's a nasty boy, dude.
Was he like, you guys didn't build the pyramids, aliens did.
Yeah.
Like, fuck you, dude.
Yeah, shot a fucking cannonball at it. It
They
was
looked
like,
at the stones with sound.
yeah. He he had a pact with the boys. He captured them, he beat them, and they're in the Middle East at the time. It was like a tradition. You would just be like, all right, we'll never fight again.
Yeah.
Let us go. We're done. That's a deal.
Oh.
And then they came back and fought again. He was like, all right, well now I'm going to execute all you.
Oh, in the middle, he was following Middle Eastern customs.
Yeah.
All right, he captured the flag and was
Capture the flag. Go. All right, everybody go home. We're not even going to take your arms.
damn, what if some guy was just throwing a rock at his wife and missed and hit Napoleon? That could have been the whole thing.
Could fired him up. And then in Napoleon, he cucked one of his officers, dude.
What?
This is a rough one.
Down in Egypt?
Yeah.
Down in Club Egypt?
He was down in Club Egypt. it was ladies' night, dude. He found out Josephine was back home having a little tryst. He said,
okay.
He said, I can't get cucked.
Yeah, that's the only way you can stop a cuck is to cuck one of your friends, your best
And then
friends.
he cucked an officer. He said, he was like, you got to go back to France and tell him we're doing good.
Oh, he passed the bug along.
And then he sent the guy back to France. The guy got turned around by the British. They sent him back. He comes back. He finds his babe in the palace.
Oh no.
His wife. He's like, what are you doing in the pleasure palace?
Oh.
What the fuck?
That sucks.
That's so shitty.
That's funny. A British guy was like, turn around, go back.
Yeah.
Your wife is fucking Napoleon.
Oh.
Yeah, that's crazy. Dude, Europe fought forever. They just battled each other nonstop.
Yeah.
They got to take up arms against each other again. I need to see Britain just battle France.
They kind of are, but yeah.
Are they? Or are they
No,
doing
not England and France, but you know, Russia and Ukraine.
True. Yeah, true. No, I need to see the OG.
You want to see the originals. You want to
Britain,
see Germany
Germany, France.
activated.
Yeah.
Germany got so activated, dude. What were they
They
doing?
got triggered. They got fucking triggered as hell.
What the fuck were they doing?
I have no idea. They
What
got
a
fucking,
bunch of fucking dickheads.
they spazzed. I mean, dude, they were pretty fucking dumb. Everyone was pretty dumb back then. The guy just fucking came up with a pretty cool story. He was like, check out these old ancient myths. You're these guys. And they're like,
Yeah. They're like, obviously, yes, I know. I knew I was a Viking.
yeah. Well, that was everyone's worldview back then was ethnocentric. Into the 1940s, it was I'm German, I live in Germany, German people are the best. Then you would shoot other guys and be like, yep, knew it. Or you'd lose and be like,
That was
we're the
bullshit.
best.
We
We
just
got
got ripped
tricked.
off.
Yeah, we
What is
got
those goddamn Jews? Somebody must have fucked us. There's no way we lost.
that was the organizing
It
principle.
was the
of-
refs, dude.
True. That was the organizing principle of like pretty much life. They're like, we're X is the best. And everyone fought each other. And we're like,
I don't know
this
if we're
is
above that.
bullshit. We're slowly getting out of it. Meaning maybe never, maybe we'll die and we'll blow up in a big bomb. But
Yeah.
we could all blow up in a big bomb.
We're not that far away from World War II.
Yeah. True. Yeah, for real. There's a big, I read a lot about that, how the technology grows so much, but inside, sadly, we don't.
Yeah.
Take
Vietnam.
That's fine now.
What the fuck happened? What happened?
Vietnam?
Yes.
Well, that's what I'm saying. It was. Well, I said it was a weird narcotic state where it's been kind of a thing after World War II. It's gone now, but where we're like, no, we don't really fail. Everybody wants this because it works so well. Not just World War II, the Marshall Plan even worked because we're dealing with all these countries and suddenly they're coming back. By 1960s, 50s, Germany's even back. So we're like the benign guys that we control things, but everybody's kind of like getting their thing who wants to be on the team. And then, we didn't realize there was a whole undercurrent. So like the overcurrent is Europe, then the undercurrent is the colonies. So all the colonies were rebelling starting in the late 50s.
Oh, yeah.
From Africa to, South America. And so there was that whole thing going on,
The vacay spots were popping
There was so
off.
much going on. Isn't it weird?
All the sandals.
The sandals resorts.
All the sandals resorts were they've had it up to here.
Yeah.
That makes
So
sense.
it was kind of a weird, it was an interesting time. if
I
you
can
really
see
think about it.
communism appealing to that.
Yeah.
You're down
Of
with people
You gotta
course.
share the fucking daiquiris.
pissing
dude.
around the cheese.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, like
so-
Cuba, look at Cuba with the whole mafia thing, and it was such an interesting thing where it was like, they letting all these capitalist things, and then they were like, no, and Castro came in, and you know what I mean? They, even though Cuba failed, they didn't like the corruption level that was going on. The same thing with South Vietnam.
Yeah.
We
That
were
was the
like-
thing. We propped up some fucking
We
dumbass.
propped up a dumbass.
And we would never get rid of it. And then as soon as you saw that part, we were watching it.
Yeah.
We propped up this dude who just immediately started persecuting the Buddhists.
Absolutely.
Started.
Yep.
His wife was a fucking
Yeah.
monster who was like, "Good, I'm glad they're burning themselves."
Yes. His wife
mean, it
and
was-
his brother.
Yeah, they were just morons,
Yeah.
Yes.
and we couldn't back off because we were like, "It's still better than communism."
Yep.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, Ho Chi Minh was kind of fucking cool.
Right. He liked us at the beginning.
Yeah,
He
he was
wasn't
like-
totally into this thing. And then
Yeah.
Yeah. It's tough. It's like
but he
assistant.
became,
Yeah, it's like
Yeah.
assistant manager
Now,
energy.
did you know a lot of guys that were in Vietnam?
I knew a few. Yeah.
Yeah.
I was a kid doing the whole thing,
Yeah.
And I remember as a little kid, you'd watch, it was on the news every day at 5 and 6 o'clock, you'd see the footage from Vietnam. So it was like such a part. It wasn't like I was shocked because I wasn't from the generation before that. That was all I knew. I was 7, 8 years old, 9 years old. But I remember seeing footage of Vietnam all the time on TV and the news, and it was just a constant thing. And I remember one time in class, we were talking about Vietnam. This is probably 71, or maybe 70. And the teacher or the kids were going, yeah, Vietnam is bad. And this girl in our class starts screaming and crying because her brother got killed in Vietnam. And so I knew probably 3 guys, older guys, that didn't hang out with me, but I mean, I knew 3 guys that were Marines in Vietnam that got wounded, that came home, and they all had those cliche Marine personalities. I mean, Vietnam vet personality. The Army jacket by themselves, the big beards when they're home, heavy drinker, heavy smoker, you know, prone to outbursts, but still good guys. Like they were guys we like, you know, they weren't like people hung out with them and talked to them, but they had that other side to them, partly from being in the war, partly from what they did, partly from what Vietnam did, and partly from their reaction when they came home. It wasn't like you walk around, people weren't going, thank you for your service either, you know.
Yikes. That stinks.
Yeah, so I knew a few guys, yeah,
that was the thing we were talking about. O'Connor brought this up. We were talking about last night. He's like, imagine today's fucking college student. Imagine
Jesus
being
Christ.
a dude who got drafted and had to go live through fucking hell. And then you get home and one of these fuckers throws like a bag of piss at you and is like, baby killer.
Fuck you.
Like, yo.
right. Oh my God,
That's when I would join the Ohio National Guard and I would head down to Kent State and say, "Fuck you guys."
Yeah, true.
That's yeah. But it was interesting that they all did have that personality.
Yeah.
Even the guys I knew, guy across the street, my friend's brother, was a Vietnam vet that didn't fight. He was a airplane mechanic, and even he was screwed up,
fucked up from it.
Yeah.
My uncle was a Marine, and he never talks about it ever. Like literally never talks about it. One night, he and I got drunk, and he opened up about it.
Really?
And it was wild. He saw a fucking Chinook get hit and just spun. Dudes flew everywhere. I mean, it was. Now my other uncle was in Vietnam, and he is a little more. He's a little more sociopath, like psycho. That's like, I killed a guy. Yeah, and I was like, "How was that?" And it was just me and him, and he goes, "It's fucking incredible." I was like, yo.
I told you, I knew a guy who was a sniper, and he was saying, he's like, you get addicted to the feeling of killing people. And he's like, and he was a nice dude. He's like, I didn't have like ill will towards people, but he's like, I like would watch people eat dinner, and as soon as they finish, right in the head. He's like, by like the 12th one, he's like, you get like a God complex, and you're like, I'm ended. This is done. Damn.
Yeah.
You just watch people hang out.
The guy in Vietnam. I've told you this before. It was like a 90-degree trail, and you couldn't see around the corner. So he's walking one way. A Viet Cong was walking up the path. He said they literally bumped into each other in the jungle, and then it was just a race to see who could get who could get their gun out faster, and he got his out.
Woo! Jesus Christ!
Now he's still. I mean, and then he got fucked up. He got hit with a rocket propelled grenade. And he blew. His nipples missing. His calves off. Yeah, and he had to lay there because they're in the middle of a firefight. He had to lay there for 3 hours on the jungle floor like, I'm dead. I'm dying for sure. Yeah. I mean, he's a hero.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, and is it that different from war? Like, my father was in Korea and Korean and war, and he said the most disturbing part was, which is still chilling, that the lieutenants or the officers would nightly bring in the Korean prisoners and beat the living shit out of them, and always like, "Hey, Brooklyn, you want a piece?" And he's like, "No, thanks." And they would just like just torture the guys, just beat them for fun. So it was already starting to lose the
the glamour of World War II.
And then, but Vietnam is a different. Like, I feel like this setup, even though it happened in World War II, it happens in every war. The setup of search and destroy is what fucked them all up. Because here you are, you grow up in the 50s, you're watching these movies, you have a little bit, even if you're not innocent, you know you're capable of, but you're still, and then suddenly you're in the middle of this thing where they go, no, you have to burn all these Hamlets, because like I said, the Hamlet program, the Vietnamese took over the Hamlets. So they go, and the Vietnamese are in there. And whether they are or not, they're in enough where you're like, okay, it's them or me. And so you're torturing all these peasants out of their house, torching their village,
burning their fucking.
That's like the strategy.
How long did they do that for?
That's our strategy.
How long did they do that
the whole
for?
time?
The whole entire
from
they
1963
down.
Yeah,
from 1963.
Jesus Christ.
And they said even that's what Morley Safer was. The guy from 60 Minutes. I always thought this fucking annoying guy, But meanwhile, he was a reporter, and they filmed in 1965 torching of a Hamlet. 1965, early in the war, And that's when everyone started protesting the Vietnam
Yeah.
War because they watched on TV. They're like, wait, this is like liberating France. What's going on here? It was just all these peasants running. They're torching the house and shooting the pigs. Like that was on the national news.
Jesus.
On the
fucking
evening
Christ.
news.
That's what you were watching?
Well, I don't remember that, but I'm saying, but people
Yeah,
it
yeah.
shocked the whole country. That's when the protest
Because
began.
we were the good guys.
Oh,
We
I
were
got
always
you.
the good guys.
But
We
was,
always a
was
good
the
guy.
news showing it
We were
like,
the-
check us out? Never like, boo, or like, fuck.
No, the news was like, hey,
This is
That's
crazy.
because the news was doing their fucking job.
True, yeah.
And they're like, here's what's
Yes.
actually happening.
No, right. They just shot. And Morley Safer had to leave. Like they were threatening him because they were saying he took it out of context. He didn't, which he probably
He took
did
it
too.
out of context.
Well, I'm saying
Yeah.
they weren't saying that they'd been getting shot, like Marines had gotten shot from that village.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah,
So
yeah.
I'm saying it wasn't like, you know, it's not just us evil and everybody else is good either. But I mean,
No,
it
they were
still
bad.
it was a stupid strategy. You
But
know?
see, this is what happened. And it was
Yeah.
crazy because the French had just done it before us.
Yes.
Failed.
So they did this thing called pacification where they were like,
Right.
they tried to do the social set. Like they were like, we're going to help build your rice paddies up. We're going to give you food. We're going to build schools. And during the day it worked. And then at night the Viet Cong would come in, take the food,
That's
take
right.
the fucking guns,
That's right.
hide guns in the villages, hide weapons,
Yes.
hide soldiers. So then during the day they'd come back and they'd just keep getting supplies and they'd
Yeah.
do raids from the villages with the weapons and shit the French gave them.
Yeah.
And then so the French would come back and be like, we know you're harboring communists.
Oh, Jesus.
And they would burn the fucking village down. And then we did that. We did the
And we
exact
did
same
it.
thing.
And then under the thing of like, we don't want communism to spread, which is funny to be like, we don't want you want to be free, guys. Trust me. And you're like burning
Yeah.
villages down. Like, trust me, this is
Well,
better.
and I
For
think we
your
did
own
the
good.
same thing kind of in Afghanistan, right?
Mhm.
In Iraq, where it
Instilling
would be like,
democracy.
we're going to give you guys money, work with us. And then the Taliban comes in at night and is like, puts a gun to their head and is like,
Well,
you
that's,
work with us.
Yeah.
I mean,
That's the whole problem with everything, right?
Yeah.
If you go to some, you know, if the cops go to a neighborhood bar, the only analogy I ever use in everything is a neighborhood bar. And but if they go to a neighborhood bar and go, listen, we want you guys to do a couple of troublemakers in here, and the troublemakers are in there, or they're
Yeah,
outside
yeah.
waiting for these guys to leave.
yeah.
They're not there. They're only going to be there part. They know you're going.
Yeah.
Leave. You're not there to stay forever. So it
Yeah.
always ends up screwing you. You know.
Yeah, and if we don't kill them at night, they're gonna come get fucking beheaded.
Well,
by
Isn't
the
that what happened in
communists.
Vietnam? I
Yeah.
mean, once they took over,
Exactly.
they Cambodia, all that stuff, they just destroyed. They
Yeah.
genocide, got rid of everybody that bugged them. And everybody with a pair of glasses. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean,
It's like
how'd you get those?
They literally went. Well, just anybody who was so sort of
Yeah.
fancy themselves intellectual. It was like it's like the army came in and literally just rampaged through Bushwick, Williamsburg, and Greenpoint in the past 3 years.
Nice.
And just said,
Hey, I
everybody
get it.
here
I
was
get it.
everybody here was been to a show at a bookstore. Just line up.
Just burn the bookstores.
Yeah, it's. I mean, that's the thing about. That's why I never really got into Vietnam. You know, I like the Civil War and World War II, where it's like
Yeah.
it's kind of noble,
Right. It seems
and then
like yeah.
and then Vietnam is the first one that's like
well, it's so. But even Korea was like a harbinger. It's all like
Korea,
so
yeah.
psychological, right?
Yeah.
And I had another uncle who fought in World War II and fought with Audie Murphy. Do you know who Audie Murphy was?
No, who's that?
He's the most famous World War II hero.
Okay,
Like they made him a movie star. He wasn't a good actor, but he was this legendary World War II. My uncle happened to be in his unit.
oh wow,
And he said that all the hype, to show you the difference in the war, all the hype about him was true. He goes, this guy was the bravest. He goes, he was so crazy. He'd run right into battle.
Yeah.
They were at Anzio. They were at Battle of the Bulge. All these places. He goes, he would just run right into battle.
he's nuts.
and in those days, they'd celebrate. Now
Like,
in
man,
World
that's a
War II,
hero.
even you know, any movie about Iraq, there's still an undertone of darkness. All the World War II movies, they're like, hey, there's no problem here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Kick their ass.
Yeah, like
that's
this guy's great. You know, it had like a positive
Like
tone to it.
John Basilone. You know
What's
guy?
that?
He was in the Pacific. There's a rest stop in New Jersey, like one of the first rest stops. That's what he got out of it.
Oh,
He got the Medal of Honor.
That's awesome.
He fucking, it's in the Pacific, and like he goes wild, picks up his gun without the fucking
right.
heat pad, just mows down the jet, and then he goes home. So they put him on a USO tour
Yeah.
to sell fucking bonds,
Yeah.
and he's like, "No, I need to go back and fight."
Yeah.
So then he goes to Iwo Jima and is like, "I'm gonna do that gun thing again,"
What?
and he died.
Oh no.
Yeah, he
Bust out the
died.
trick.
But he got
Yeah, boy, like he
was
does
a-
a side choice. Yeah.
he fucking
Yeah, my
but
mom's
he got
cousin did
arrested
3
up.
tours of Vietnam. He
Really?
did one, and he's like, sent me back. He did another, and he's
Whoa.
like, give me one more.
Who did it?
My mom's cousin.
Wow.
He did
3
He
tours?
did 2 more. He
3. Wow.
did 3. He was like, fuck it, I'm not going back. I'm gonna do it.
And what did he end up doing after the war?
I saw him like spazzing, fighting an arcade owner on the boardwalk one time.
that was Charlie.
Good man. He's a
that
good
was
man.
Charlie, dude.
Dude, he was.
But that's the whole point. Yeah.
He was with my mom the one time when they were younger, and he was sleeping in the car, and some guy like screamed something at my mom, and he like popped up and just got out and beat the shit out. They were in traffic on the highway.
Yeah.
He beat the
Sure.
shit out of the guy and threw him on the side of the road. And he's like, "Come on, let's go."
Imagine that guy. He sees a woman in a car. He's like, "Fuck you."
the guy
Then the
sits
guy
up.
pops up.
Yeah, dude, just pops
That's a
up.
Vietnam
Fresh
vet.
from
Vietnam
3 tours. Yeah, I think it was like 74. Just pops up like what?
Can you imagine 3 tours? I mean, I mean, 2 tours is crazy, but at least you feel like during the second tour, the guy's like, fuck, what did I say yes to this?
Yeah.
But if you go for 3, that means you're like in all the way.
Yeah.
That's when I told the dude I was talking to, it was my ex-father-in-law. I was telling him about my mom's cousin. He's like, oh, that guy just likes killing people.
Yeah.
And I was like, maybe.
I mean, he probably just. There's also the guys.
Everyone's
that
got their thing.
You go there. True. You go there, and then you go home, and you're like, I can't be home after.
Yeah.
You're just in the fucking jungle
Yeah.
killing
Yes.
people. Now you got to go pretend to be a human.
Yep.
Yeah. It's like
Yeah.
when you get off the road for a long time.
Yeah.
Say it happens to
Really
cops.
is.
It happens to cops to
If
a
they
lesser
did it
degree.
with a friend. What's that? Yeah.
It happens to cops too.
Yes.
They get addicted to that adrenalized state and they go home. They're like, this sucks.
Sure.
And they stay there forever.
And
Get fat.
but the other thing with Vietnam, which I've watched a lot of those YouTube guys where they interview, and you see the similarities in them eventually. And one of them is that they said they got screwed. First of all, just imagine this: supposed to be the country sending all this money for aid. Several of them said the sea rations were terrible. He goes, we looked at the date on some of them; they were Korean and World War II.
Yikes.
That's how old the sea rations
Yeah.
were.
Jesus.
That they're giving to the troops at supposedly the richest time in our history. And the other one is the M14. They said the M16 got more guys killed when they switched to the M16 because Westmoreland wanted, or one of these guys it was like a vanity project. The M14 wouldn't jam in the mud. The
Oh, I did hear
M16
that, yeah.
jammed, and they said guys would just be getting killed, bayoneted to death
Oh,
because it would
Christ.
jam and you couldn't unjam it.
Oh, fuck.
And they did, the M14 was, the early gun was better.
That sucks.
Yeah. America really fucked up. I don't like it.
But yeah,
The whole thing just
whole thing was
bums
just-
me out.
yeah,
And then each president had an opportunity to fucking end it.
yeah, that's right.
And they all just keep fucking dragging it out.
But that's what I mean. That's what I'm saying about that
Yeah.
state. Kennedy.
Yeah. He was close to ending it.
He was, but
Yeah.
he wasn't.
Well, they
You know what I
they
mean?
made
Like-
sure he didn't.
And they said, and this guy Van was talking to Henry Cabot Lodge, who was the ambassador, all the guys who were close to Kennedy. And it was just one of those things where it's like, just at the last minute, it's like any other decision you've seen in any power person, where you're like, everybody has this logical argument, and then they go, no, I think this is better.
Yeah.
And you're like, what? Why? You don't even give us a reason. And he never give us a reason.
There was
Was there any kind of economic advantage that like was clear?
I don't think so.
Really? They didn't
I don't
even like
think there was
make
any-
any. Yeah, I guess there was
No.
nothing really there.
I mean, there was
Babes,
rubber. No, there was
babes.
rubber.
Babes?
Yeah.
All the shit that was there was gone when we left.
True.
Yeah.
Rubber, coconuts, all the rice. It was all gone. I mean, we fucking killed it.
Damn, that sucks.
I mean, Agent Orange. I mean, when you think about it,
Yeah, I forgot about that.
Agent Orange killing all the people. They said their levels of whatever dioxin
Yeah.
were 3 times anybody else by the time we left, and all the troops. I mean, doing it to your own troops is just crazy. I mean, that's the height of like immorality. You know, to just
yeah.
the guys that are there fighting, and you're just
Yeah.
like, yeah, well, you know, it's like, no, they're the ones you have to really try to be a little more careful with, the opposite of what you're doing. It was really a weird situation, you know.
Also, the French were using napalm too.
They were before us.
Yeah, they were. We did everything they did.
Sounds like a French
the
word.
exact
Napalm.
same thing. Yeah,
Yeah.
you know what that is?
Yeah, that
Napalm's
fucking
just
was
gel.
Yeah, isn't it like petroleum
Yeah.
gel and they light it on fire and you
Yeah.
spread it if you like touch it.
You,
Try to put
you
water
don't
on
have to
it.
light it
Yeah.
on fire. It just goes on your body. It burns.
Yeesh. And water makes it worse, right? Because if you take a
Yes,
grease fire, put water on
right.
it, it gets worse. Yeah, it stinks. And I mean, but France really wanted Vietnam, so
Well,
They
they
loved
had them
it.
before that.
Yeah,
they wanted it back. I mean, they had it, they lost it. They're like, I think we can get this back.
they want their baby back.
Started
But
spreading
what
some
is-
fire on people.
Yeah. What is it
Hold on.
about Vietnam that's so because we apparently wanted it too. We went in there in the mid-50s and we couldn't leave. You ever go to a party and you're like, I gotta leave. This party's over.
Oh yeah.
And it's like,
It's like, you know what? Yeah, I guess I will do some coke.
You're saying it was 2 a.m. It was 2
and you
a.m.
end
in
up going, if
Vietnam.
only I had left at 11 o'clock like I planned to. That's Vietnam.
This probably is just a psychological thing. It's like you want to be the best general. You start losing. You're like, fuck. We got
Yeah.
this. We got this. And it's like, no. We should have this. Hear me out. This is my passion project.
Yeah.
This is my baby.
Yeah. I mean, that's the other thing. Everybody was just about, the military, like their job is to get more money for the military.
Mm-hmm.
How can you get more money if you're not in a war,
So how did what do you like? How does this thing progress? What do you?
Yeah.
How does it end? What's going on?
Vietnam?
Yeah.
I mean, it ended when we left. It was it was really, they're lucky it was the mid-70s. It was like 75, that famous rooftop thing.
Saigon. Yeah.
They're lucky because by then, everybody it was like the age of apathy when I was a teenager. People were just into drugs, dancing, and, it was just a very hedonistic time. People were done, all the protesting that happened in the 60s, people were done by the 70s. You know what I mean? And they're just like, yeah. And so when people left, there wasn't even outrage. It was like, oh, that was awkward.
That was a bummer.
That was
Damn.
just, people were just like, whoa.
Yeah.
It just
Coke and
looked so bad.
disco, yeah.
And you feel bad for all the people that, all the
Yikes.
Vietnamese that were still helping us by the end were fucked.
Yeah. Like that
They got
famous
killed.
that helicopter on the roof.
The helicopter.
That picture. That's a long line.
Yeah,
And that's the last chopper.
that's right.
Those boys
Last
are
shot.
staying, and that's
That's
a
right.
fucking negative time.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
When that
they-
chopper takes off and you're like next in line, like fuck.
I've
Should've
had
got
that.
here
I've had a
5
similar
minutes
experience.
earlier.
I was at Longwood Gardens waiting for a shuttle to go see the shuttles. Like I was like the last guy. I had to wait like 15 more minutes. I was like, motherfucker.
Yeah,
I
I know that.
don't know what happened. It settled down. It's better now.
No, it's not.
That's not tearing. The damage is done.
Also, like, did romantic literature hit Japan? That was a European phenomenon.
Yeah, I wonder when that would have come in. We were talking about Hiroshima. Hiroshima's blowing up conservative X.
Really?
Yeah, it's a live
Blowing
issue
up
because
again.
yes,
What's
it's the third
happening?
explosion. Like Tucker went on Joe Rogan and was saying like the nuclear bomb was wrong, and now all the neocons are coming out going, no, it was good, it was nice,
Yeah.
and that's the fault line. at the
It was
moment.
good and nice.
Yeah, it was. It saved more Japanese people than it killed.
I don't think.
They're saying, that was for the collective,
It's a tough
for the
one.
greater good. That is
Yeah.
nuts. That is, if you think about the hubris to take that position where anyone can be like, I'm talking for the collective. It's like, you have no idea what the fuck you're talking about.
Yeah, all those
I'm
people-
dealing more numbers of like tens of million Japanese people 500 years ago. It's like, okay, dude. Yeah, you're right. You're the boss. You win. Like, shut up, dude.
Yeah, it's crazy to be like a big bomb that killed everybody. Is pretty nice.
Yeah, well, they're saying like, but think about all the other bad stuff that would have happened if we didn't bomb them. It's an insane, it's a nutso
Yeah.
argument.
Yeah,
It's a slippery slope.
the Hiroshima ratio, I think they called it. They tried to figure out how many people would die if they went in because the suicides were outrageous.
Yeah,
Really?
Yeah, like every place that the US soldiers went, people were killing
Committing
themselves.
suicide. So then
So it's
the
like,
bomb
let's-
was kind of like a guy with a noose, like, hold on, little buddy, I got you.
It's just short, sharp. It's a warning. It was a warning shot
That's crazy.
that killed hundreds of thousands.
but
of
like,
people.
dude, can you imagine? You the Nanking. Can you imagine the karma you must feel like as a society
For Nanking?
Yeah, like raping and killing a bunch of Chinese people. So like when people start invading you, you're like, they're coming for me.
I don't know, man. I've been reading the Japanese textbooks. I don't think that happened. I think that's fake news. That's Korean propaganda.
It was an inside job.
They don't, we don't. The rape is such a strong term.
Yeah, it is a harsh word.
The taking.
Doing Japanese PR.
The acquiring.
They took Korea
Yeah. Yeah,
from
Japan.
behind.
Reappropriation by force in Korea. Yeah, the Koreans don't forgive them. Oh, man. All right. I was on the Wikipedia page for Indonesian-Japanese relations.
Yeah.
How's it going?
It's a very politically, diplomatically worded. One of the opening paragraphs is like, the Japanese occupied Indonesia, killing huge numbers of people in what was a difficult time for both countries. Which is like that's crazy.
Japan had just went through a breakup.
All right, the Indonesians had gotten rid of, or maybe they were like the Dutch were in charge, and then the Japanese came, but there was like an old Javanese prophecy that like white giants would rule for 300 years.
So that
And then
prophecy is pretty
Yellow,
widespread, by the
yellow.
way.
It's what is it? Yellow small people is their term. Will rule for a very short amount of time. And so when the Japanese came, people in Indonesia were like, they was like partying on the streets that the prophecy was
yeah.
being fulfilled, and they would have independence. And then it was not good.
Oh,
Yeah, they immediately turned into indentured persons.
forever.
But I just love that thing of celebrating,
True.
the prophecy, and then they got their freedom. So maybe it did. There are some great prophecies.
Yeah, and the festival must have been nice too. When they were like, "Yeah, this is a big party," then you get clamped down on, and there must be something kind of like a spiritual BDSM to be punished by a deity. You know what I mean?
It's the Book of Psalms.
Yeah, dude. Like I was just reading about the advent of Christianity, and like, yeah, the Jews got like crushed, dude, over and over, and they were like, "We're the best." They thought they had like God in a room. That was like the covenant.
Yeah.
That little room in the highest part of the temple, and I
Then
think
Jesus showed up, and they're like, "Oh fuck."
what was the name? No, not even. This was like
it starts
Jesus.
with what's it? Yeah, the other guy in the triumvirate goes in there.
Yeah, what the fuck was his name? I forget. It was like the
I'm so embarrassed not to know. What's his name?
Augustus, maybe?
No, it's
Pompey. I think it was
Pompey.
Pompey. I
It's
think it was
Pompey.
Pompey. I think
Yeah.
Pompey rolled in.
Pompey rolled in and said, "There's nothing in here."
Yeah, but he was like, this room's kind of cool though. And then they were like, how the fuck did he get in here? And then they had to be like, we're fucked. We need to repent. It's crazy, dude.
It's big waves.
Yeah.
We're on top and we're on the bottom, which may be continuing to this day potentially.
But then
That's the story.
Pompey got, I think, kind of fucked up pretty hard because they were like,
did.
dude, this guy, because if you would start taking over large portions of the world, like if you'd see somebody doing that, every other religion would be like, fuck, I think their gods must be the one. And then they would get like shot in a boat and just burned alive. And like, yeah, my God still rules. That guy got destroyed.
Then Caesar became their champion, I think, and then they wept in the streets when Caesar was knifed.
I know I would.
Oh man, Caesar was so great.
Yeah.
I'm pro Caesar.
Yeah, me too, dude.
Last time I was on here, I got in trouble because I was asked if I liked Franco, and I gave an over the top answer.
Yeah.
Don't love fascism. I think fascism is bad. I just want to say,
Yeah, true.
brother, fascism
Set the
is
record
bad.
straight.
Set the record straight. But Julius Caesar, so cool. Is that okay?
Yeah, I think
it's a
you
long
have
time
to,
ago, it's okay.
time has to pass.
I don't even
Yeah.
know what he did, but hey.
I don't know either.
He took Gaul. He won a civil war. He
Sick.
redistributed land for people.
That rules.
Oh yeah, he set up Galatia. Galatia had the ladyboys too.
Did it?
Yeah, they're like that was their like highest priests were just dudes who dressed like girls.
That does sound like the fanciest ladyboy, Galatian ladyboy.
They were the Gaulish. Yeah, they were the Gaulish people. I think it's modern day Turkey, but yeah, Turkey. Their original religion was ladyboys. There were these like lady bros that would walk through, and Rome was just kind of like,
Islam
dude.
does sound like an improvement on the
what?
ladyboy religion. If that's the best you were doing on your own, then you would welcome the Arab horde.
Well, no,
coming to
they
town.
were pillagers. The Galatians were just nonstop pillagers, and Rome came through, fucking piped them up, big time. It was like knock it off, and then built them a bunch of cool shit. And the Galatians were like, yeah, we're basically Romans now. But that was like the last vestige of the religion was like the lady bros.
Bros.
What's still in the
Sounds like us.
in Afghanistan? You would have you read
Yes.
about the Bakabazi?
Uh huh. You get the hottest little sweet boy, and if you're like a feudal warlord in like Afghanistan. Part of your status is like you grip up like a little sweet boy and make him dress
Yeah.
like a girl, and he'll dance for you and all your bros.
And they got playing cards for them. And this is all right. So the Taliban were trying to stamp it out. This is what I read. And then they
okay.
got a
I'll give him
pro
that.
Bakabazi guy in as like the president under the Americans. And he had to go to the UN to give an address. And he had to, what I heard, he had to be talked out of bringing his dancing boy. And he was like, but they won't respect me if I don't have the most supple boy. And the US is like, you will not be bringing the boy to New York City.
Go anywhere without my squire.
It's true, but he's like, how do you know you don't like it if you don't see my boy dance for you? It is funny to be so plugged into your context. You're like, why can't I bring my hot young boy to dance? These are powerful men. This is what
They're
powerful
going to
men
have
do.
their boys there?
Yeah, true.
I'll be the only boyless man.
I would look like a fucking idiot without my little boy.
Let me
True.
keep him in a hotel. Come on.
Yeah, man. He probably brought him too. It was just like, oh, look, I'll talk to him. Everything's cool.
Just wait out
Say
here.
you're my son. Say you're my incredible makeup dancing son.
Traveling from Afghanistan.
They love that here in America. Made up dancing son.
Yeah, they'll give you a Bud Light deal.
It's funny having just like Mitch McConnell be like, what? No. Tell him to no.
Bringing your little boy in a cat carrier from Afghanistan. Put him in the overhead
Yeah,
compartment.
this is my what's it? Emotional support board.
Yeah, my emotional support twink.